Good evening, students. Sorry for delay due to technical issues. Before I start today's lecture, I would like to make a small correction regarding the timing of YouTube live classes. What has been posted in WhatsApp, small mistake is there, so that rectification I would like to do. Physics daily 8 a.m. Chemistry daily 9 a.m. So physics and chemistry subjects morning session. Evening session biology is at 4 p.m. Maths is at 5 p.m. So kindly you make the corrections regarding the subject wise timing of daily YouTube live classes. Okay, today I will start sexual reproduction. I will continue the sexual reproduction. So I gave the definition of the sexual reproduction yesterday. A kind of reproduction in which usually two parental individuals of opposite sex, one is male parent and another one female parent, they are involved in the production of the young one or offspring. So sexual reproduction what characters are there? So mainly it involves the formation of gametes. It involves the formation of gametes. So the male parent will produce the male gamete and female parent will produce usually female gamete, right? So of separate sexes usually. Sometimes a bisexual individual will be there. In that case, single parent can be involved. So sexual reproduction involves the formation of gametes. Then it involves mainly fusion of gametes. It involves mainly fusion of gametes. So fusion of gametes you call it as fertilization or you call it as syngamy. The sexual reproduction it involves mainly meiosis cell division. Mitotic cell division will be there. In addition to that, meiosis will be present. So this meiosis will be present mainly during the gamete formation, what we call gametic meiosis. This meiosis occur in gamete mother cells which are responsible for the formation of male and female gamete. So there it involves meiosis. The young one or offsprings which are produced after the sexual reproduction, these young ones are not genetically identical to the parents. These young ones are not identical among themselves. So the offspring are not genetically identical to parents. So they are not clones. The young ones which are produced, they are not identical among themselves also, that remember. So neither they are identical to the parents, completely they are not identical to the parents, nor they are identical among themselves. The sexual reproduction is slow, elaborate and complex process. It is a slow, elaborate and complex process. It is not a rapid method of multiplication. It is not a rapid method of multiplication. So these are the characteristics of sexual reproduction. Keep it in mind. See, there is a diversity in the living world. So we have plants, animals, the lower group organisms like fungi. These different organisms, they differ from each other. In external morphology, physiology, and internal structure. Plants, animals, fungi, and other group of organisms which have diversity in the living world, they differ in external morphology, physiology, and internal structure. But when it comes to the pattern of sexual reproduction, pattern of sexual reproduction, this pattern will be similar. Pattern will be similar. So all these sexually reproducing organisms, all the organisms which carry out sexual reproduction, in their life cycle they have to attain the growth and development, and they have to attain maturity before they start reproducing sexually. That we should remember. So all the different organisms which perform sexual reproduction, in their life cycle they have to attain the growth and development, and they have to attain maturity before they start reproducing sexually. So in sexually reproducing organism, in sexually reproducing plants, they have the life cycle. This life cycle has different phases. Phases of life cycle. Sexually reproducing organisms, they exhibit the life cycle which has the different phases. So this is very important for theory exam point of view. It will be asked for 3 marks. Explain the different phases of life cycle in sexually reproducing organisms. Very important for 3 marks. Remember this. We have 3 different phases. First one, juvenile phase. We use this juvenile phase term with respect to animals. So when we consider the plants, we use the term vegetative phase, that remember. So it is also called as pre-reproductive phase. Then the second phase is a reproductive phase or mature phase, what we call reproductive phase or mature phase. Then senescent phase, or it is also called as post-reproductive phase. So first, juvenile phase or pre-reproductive phase or vegetative phase. As I told, juvenile phase term is used mainly with respect to animals. So this is the phase of growth. So what happens here? After the birth, there will be growth. It is a growth phase. Say you have sown the seed, the seed will germinate and form small seedling, and this seedling will have small root system and shoot system. So there will be development of the plant body, the growth of the plant body. So there will be formation of different vegetative parts of the plant body. The vegetative parts like root, stem, leaves, branches can be formed. So the period from birth to just before the maturity. We can refer it as pre-reproductive phase or vegetative phase. So in case of vegetative phase, the plants will undergo the growth. So different growth and developmental changes will be there. So the germination of the seed, then seedling will be formed, then formation of root, formation of stem, formation of leaves, branches. So these are different vegetative changes that occur during this period of time, that we call it as vegetative phase. We can clearly demarcate these three different phases, especially in case of plants like annuals and biennials. We can easily differentiate these three phases: vegetative phase, reproductive phase and senescent phase in plants like annuals and biennials. Whereas in case of perennials, it is very difficult to discriminate or differentiate these three phases of the life cycle. Now, so first phase, that is vegetative phase, that is growth phase. So where the development of different vegetative parts will be there, formation of vegetative parts will be there. Now, reproductive phase. Reproductive phase is that is maturation will be there. On maturity of an organism, there will be formation of sex organs, development of sex organs and maturity of the sex organs. Once they mature, then they start producing the gametes, all that. So particularly in flowering plants, in higher plants, this vegetative phase is separated from reproductive phase by the formation of flowers. The vegetative phase can be easily demarcated. The end of vegetative phase can be easily differentiated by the development of the flowers. So in the reproductive phase, in higher plants, there will be development of the flowers. Flowers are the reproductive structures of the plant, a modified reproductive shoot of limited growth meant for sexual reproduction. So flowers will be produced in this reproductive stage. The motto of this reproductive stage is mainly development of the offsprings, production of the offsprings which can be similar to the parent or not similar to parent. Most of the time they are not similar to the parents, as you know that in case of sexual reproduction. Now, based on the pattern of flowering, or fruiting or fruit formation, based on the pattern of flowering or fruit formation, in the reproductive phase, we can differentiate different plants. Based on the flowering nature, we can have monocarpic plants, polycarpic plants. These are the two types of plants what we have, monocarpic plants and polycarpic plants. So when you take the monocarpic plants, the plants which produce flower only once in their lifetime, the plants which produce flower only once in their lifetime, they are called as monocarpic plants. So they produce flowers. These flowers later on develop into fruit, and then they will complete their life cycle after their death. So these monocarpic plants, which are the monocarpic plants? As I mentioned earlier, annuals, biennials. These are monocarpic plants. Annuals, they complete their life cycle within 1 year. And biennials, they complete their life cycle in 2 years. First year they show vegetative growth, and in the second year they show reproductive growth by the formation of flower, fruit and seeds, all that. So annuals mainly you have cereals. Cereals such as jawar, wheat, bajra, maize. These are all cereals. So as their lifespan is only 1 year, within 1 year they complete their life cycle, so they are going to produce flower only once in their lifetime. So they are monocarpic plants. Similarly, biennials, they complete their life cycle in 2 years. First year vegetative growth I told, second year reproductive growth. So they produce only once flower in their lifetime. So here you have carrot, henbane. These are the example for that, for biennials. Now we have another group. In annuals and biennials we can clearly differentiate this vegetative phase, reproductive phase, as well as the senescent phase. Now we have another group of plant, that is perennial. The plants which live for many years, they are called as perennial plants. And these plants are going to produce flower either in the specific season. There are some plants which produce flower throughout the year. So the plants which produce flower in the specific season of the year, take for example mango, orange, grape, etc. These are perennial plants and they produce flower in the specific season of a year. Now, there are some plants, they are perennial but they produce flower throughout the year. So, almost all the days of a year we are going to get the flower from these plants. Take for example hibiscus, Mycorrhizae. These are the plants which produce flower throughout the year. Now, there are some examples. They are perennial, but they produce flower only once in their lifetime. So, they are perennial monocarpic plants. Perennial monocarpic plant. Two examples we have to remember. One is bamboo. Bamboo sapula. It grows vegetatively for 50 to 100 years. For 50 to 100 years it grows vegetatively. Then it produces abundantly flowers. Then it produces abundant fruits. Then it will die. So, it is a perennial monocarpic plant. Bamboo, it grows vegetatively between 50 to 100 years. Then it starts producing the flower, produce abundant fruits and then die. There is another example, that is Strobilanthes kuntiana, Neelakurinji, commonly called as Neelakurinji. So this plant will produce flower after every 12 years. It produces the flower after every 12 years. This plant will produce blue color flower. This plant is found in hilly tracts of Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. that Nilgiri district, Ooty, Kodaikanal, that side. So this plant will produce flower after every 12 years. Last time it produced the flower in the month of September, October 2006. Recently, in the year 2018, it produced the flowers. So it is growing on the hilly tracts of the mountain tracts of this Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and when it produces the flowers, that entire hilly tract of these states will turn to blue mountain like. It appears completely blue mountain like due to the formation of abundant flowers in this plant, which will attract large number of tourists to see this blue mountain. Large number of tourists will visit these what we call tourist places. So Strobilanthes kunthiana, commonly called as Neelakuranji, it will produce flower once in 12 years. So these are perennial plants but monocarpic in nature, that remember. Now we will move on to another type, that is polycarpic plants. So when you take polycarpic plants, the polycarpic plants, they produce flower, what you call many times in their lifetime. Polycarpic plants produce many times in their lifetime. So I mentioned the mango, all that. Actually these will come mango, apple, then orange, grapes. These are all perennial. I have given the example there. Okay, just do the rectification of that. So these mango, apple, orange, grapes, these are polycarpic plants. These are producing in definite season. These are the polycarpic plants which produce the flowers in definite season. In specific season they are going to produce the flower. So these are polycarpic plants which produce flower throughout the year. I mentioned these are vinca and another one hibiscus. They produce flower throughout the year, that is in vinca, and another one, that is hibiscus. So monocarpic plant, they produce flower only once in their lifetime. So in that I told annual and biennial compulsory, and perennial monocarpic, these two examples you have to remember. Then polycarpic plants, the plants which produce flower many times in their lifespan. So these are perennial, they are polycarpic and seasonal in nature. So this is about the flowering season in what we call reproductive phase. Then the third phase is senescent phase. Senescent phase, it is also called as post-reproductive phase. Senescent phase or post-reproductive phase. So in this phase, there is a structural and functional deterioration. The metabolic activity will decrease. Slowing down of the metabolic rate or metabolic activity, the structural and functional deterioration of the body, resulting in accumulation of waste metabolites. So senescent phase, senescence is nothing but aging, post-reproductive phase. So during this phase, the general metabolic rate will slow down, will decrease, and the structural and functional deterioration of the body, leading to the accumulation of waste metabolites. So that finally leads to death. So this is about senescent phase, that is aging. Aging finally leads to death. So these are the three phases in the life cycle of sexually reproducing plants. So either it is plants or animals. Hormones are responsible for transition between these three phases. Either in plant or animal, hormones are responsible for transition between these three phases. Interaction between hormones and certain environmental factors. Interaction between hormones and environmental factors regulate the reproductive process. It regulates the reproductive process and associated behavioral expressions of organisms. So the interaction between hormones and environmental factors regulate reproductive process and associated behavioral expressions of organisms. So these are the three phases of the life cycle in sexually reproducing organisms or plants. Events in sexual reproduction. See, after attaining maturity, sexually reproducing organisms, they exhibit different events and processes. After attaining the maturity, sexually reproducing organisms exhibit different events and processes which have fundamental similarities. Even though they differ in the structures involved in sexual reproduction. So after attaining the maturity, sexually reproducing organisms exhibit different events and processes which are having fundamental similarities. Common points will be there, but the structure which are involved in the sexual reproduction will be different. This sexual reproduction, as I mentioned, it is an elaborate complex process. And it follows the sequential order. The events which occur in sequential order. So it is elaborate complex process and follows the events in sequential manner. The sexual reproduction involves formation and fusion of gametes, that you call it as fertilization. Then zygote formation zygote formation, then embryogenesis. These are different events which occur in what you call as sexual reproducing organisms. For our convenience, sexual reproduction events are grouped into mainly 3 events. There are 3 events. One is pre-fertilization event. Then second one, fertilization events. Third, post-fertilization events. So these are pre-fertilization event, fertilization event and post-fertilization events. These are the 3 different types of events which we see in sexual reproduction. So first we will begin with pre-fertilization events. The events which occur before fertilization, are called as pre-fertilization events. The events which occur before the fusion of gametes is known as pre-fertilization event. So in pre-fertilization events, mainly you have 2 events. One is gametogenesis. And another one, gamete transfer. So first we will start with gametogenesis. The process of formation of male and female gamete is known as gametogenesis. The process of formation of male and female gamete is known as gametogenesis. So in this gametogenesis, we have categories of gametes. What categories are there here? One is homogametes. It is also called as isogametes. And another one, heterogametes. So first, isogametes or homogametes. When the fusing gametes are morphologically similar. So the gametes may be identical in shape and size. So when the fusing gametes are morphologically identical or similar, such gametes are called as isogametes or homogametes. So these gametes are of the same size and shape, both can be motile. So they have similarity. So such gametes are called as isogametes. So in isogametes, some examples we will have algae such as Chlamydomonas, deberiana, that is having the isogametes. Then Eulothrix, cladophora. So these are the examples of algae which are having isogametes. In fungi like Synchytrium and certain species of Rhizopus, these are producing identical gametes, morphologically similar gametes. So these comes under isogametes or homogametes. So these are morphologically similar gametes of Cladophora. So isogametes of Cladophora. The second category of gametes, that is heterogametes. When the fusing gametes are morphologically dissimilar, distinct type, they differ in size, they differ in shape, one may be larger, one may be smaller, one is motile, another one non-motile, whatever it is. When the fusing gametes are morphologically different, they differ in size, they differ in shape, such gametes are called as heterogametes. The organisms which produce the heterogametes, in them, the male gamete, you call it as sperm, or even other term also we can use, antherozoid. Then the female gamete, we call it as egg or ovum. So the fusing gametes are morphologically different. Examples: algae, volvox, fucus, char. These are having heterogametes. Similarly, the plants starting from bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms, these all will produce heterogametes. So these gametes are morphologically dissimilar. They vary in shape and size. Take for example, this is the egg, this is sperm. Heterogamete in fucus. Fucus is brown alga. So heterogamete in what you call fucus. So this is egg, this is sperm, heterogametes in human beings, in Homo sapiens. So here, usually in case of heterogamete, the female gamete will be larger and it is non-motile, stationary, and here the male gamete will be usually motile. So this is the category that is heterogametes. Sexuality in organisms. We have lower organism and higher organism. So first, lower organisms. Sexuality in lower organism. So lower sexually reproducing organisms. Take for example fungi. In them, the fusing gametes can be morphologically similar. The fusing gametes can be morphologically similar when these gametes belong to same parent. When the fusing gametes are morphologically similar and they belong to single individual or same parent, single individual or same parent, we use the term homothallic. So lower sexually reproducing organism like fungi, in them, when the fusing gametes are morphologically similar and these gametes belong to the single individual or single parent, same parent, then we use the term homothallic. Example, Mucor mucedo. Now, when the fusing gametes belong to separate parent, different individuals, or different parent, then we use the term heterothallic. So when the two fusing gametes belong to two separate parental individuals or two separate organisms, different organisms, then we use the term heterothallic. Example, Rhizopus stolonifer. Rhizopus stolonifer is the example for heterothallic. So this is about the sexuality in lower organisms. Now what about the sexuality in higher organisms? Higher organism means mainly flowering plants. With respect to flowering plants, here, they produce flower. These flowers are having mainly the sex organs. The male sex organ, stamens. The female sex organ, carpel or pistil, what we refer. When a flower bear both stamen and carpel, that is androecium and gynoecium. When a flower has both the reproductive structure, male and female reproductive structure present together in the single same flower, then that flower we call it as bisexual condition. when a flower has only one kind of reproductive whorl, either it has a stamen or it has a carpel, any one of the reproductive whorl will be there, then that flower we call it as unisexual. So the plant containing flower which has only one kind of reproductive whorl, so that flower is called as unisexual flower. So these flowers are produced on the plant. The plant can be monoecious and dioecious when unisexual flowers are produced. The plant can be monoecious or dioecious when unisexual flowers are produced. Now, monoecious plant. Monoecious plant means a plant bearing both male and female flowers. See, when a flower bear only stamen, it is male flower. It is also called as staminate flower. It is called as male flower or staminate flower.